The rates are on the rise, but before we get into that, I'm Clayton Strums with Remax, and welcome to the March monthly market update. So don't forget to hit subscribe if you learned something new, and hit that little bell button, and that will give you notifications anytime we put out another great video like this. But let's get into it. So let's get started with this quote from the chief economist over at NAR. Home sales could possibly reach 8 million if we had more inventory. Mortgage rates should remain very low throughout 2021, although we may have seen the lowest already. So Freddie Mac reporting this: since reaching a low point in January, mortgage rates have risen by more than 30 basis points, and the impact on purchase demand has been noticeable. While purchase activities remain high, it has cooled over the last few weeks and currently on par with early March prior to the pandemic. However, the rise of mortgage rates over the next couple of months is likely to be more muted in comparison to the last few weeks, and we expect a strong spring sales season. So we see the 30-year fixed rate has gone up to about 3.02%, and guys, that's still low. In fact, when we look over at the chart, I'm not saying that, we've seen the lowest yet. We might see it go back down again. We don't know, but it is on the rise, and it's still a very, very low rate than the beginning of this year. Let's chat about forbearances. It's important to know what is happening in the market as far as forbearances are concerned. As we look at this chart, we see 1 out of 2 really didn't even probably need those forbearances. They're paid up in full. Either they've paid off the loan or they're current. They made their payments the entire time. But we've got a total of 84% of people that went on forbearance are good. They're not in trouble. So only 15.6% are still in trouble. The percentage of overall forbearances are still on the decline as the year goes on, and we'll see more and more come off. This coming from DS News, about 325,000 people will exit the forbearance program over the next 6 to 9 months without a plan in place. Some, but probably not all, of those loans will likely default. So not all 325,000 will go into foreclosure, and we really don't want to see any of them go into foreclosure, but it is something, unfortunately, we do see in this industry. Off these numbers, I personally don't see a flood of foreclosures hitting the market like I've been seeing in news articles. In fact, when we look at the next graph, we see we have a massive lack of inventory. These blue bars are showing you, every January going back to 2016. So even if in January, all of those people that are in trouble, they hit the market as foreclosures, we still have a lack of inventory. Here's a quote from the chief economist over at First American. The lack of existing homes available for sale remains the only drag on the housing market potential. Many homeowners may want to upgrade, but do not for fear that they will be unable to find a home to buy, preventing more supply from reaching the market and exacerbating the lack of inventory. As a result, everyone stays put and the supply of homes for sale dwindle further. There are still going to be a ton of sales this year, but I don't see us hitting our true potential because of this exact reason. As we look at the year-over-year changes in listings, we see that as fast as these homes are being listed, they're being put right under contract. Here's another quote from the chief economist over at NAR. Home sales continue to ascend in the first month of the year as buyers quickly snatched up virtually every new listing coming on the market. Sales easily could have been even 20% higher if there had been more inventory and more choices. Coming over to a quote from the chief economist over at Nationwide Mutual, as the COVID-19 vaccines become more available and the economy improves, he predicts that more homeowners realizing the equity gain in their homes will list their existing homes, and that could help alleviate some of the housing shortages. So what were the final numbers in appreciation for 2020? Well, the numbers are in. We could see them right here, and we could say they appreciated about 10%. So here's another quote from the chief economist over at NAR. A typical homeowner in 2020, just by being a homeowner, they would have accumulated around $24,000 in housing wealth. Guys, this is massive wealth building in home ownership, but it also has people asking if homes are becoming a little too unaffordable. So the reason for this is because the rates are still very low. Now, remember, housing affordability and affordable housing are two separate things, and we do have a massive demand and lack of affordable housing. Here's the home price forecast for 2021. So this is coming from a lot of people, MBA, NAR, Realtor.com, Freddie Mac, and the average right now is 5.9% is what everybody's forecasting, with the lowest being 3.3, which is still really, really good. So this is a simple price and demand type of issue. We have a ton of demand, so prices will continue to rise. So are we in a housing bubble? Let's look at the annual home price appreciation of the last housing bubble that popped back in 2006 versus today. And we look at the prior housing pop in 2006, we had runaway appreciation in those prior years. And we aren't seeing the same thing today. So in fact, let's look at the year over year change in price for 2020 quarter four. And we can see everything's below 15%. Every area is very, very different. But when we go to 2005 quarter four, it's a massive difference. So I think with this pricing look, we can confidently say pricing is not responding or acting the way it was back then. Very, very different situation that we're in today when you start to look at the numbers. So thanks for joining me on this March market update. If you have any questions whatsoever, make sure you leave it in the comments below. And again, like, subscribe, hit share, and I'll see you on the next one.